pofuna kudziteteza ku matenda.
Uthengawo aupatsirani ndi Zodiac Broadcasting Station ZBS.
Welcome to the Monday Evening News with me, Philip Caetano da Costa. The headlines. Experts say failure to restore peace in Mozambique's Cabo Delgado could cripple development efforts in Malawi and SADC. New May commissioners sworn in. Blantyre-based citizen petitions SCB to halt process of paying late Bulea Lule's wife proposed quantum of damages amounting to 331 million kwacha. And in sports, 5 Super League clubs fined for misconduct. Now, the news in detail. Experts want the Southern African Development Community, SADC, to address security concerns in Mozambique and the entire region, saying failure to do so will cripple development efforts in Malawi. Security and good governance experts Sherif Kaisi and Victor Chipofia Jr. said this Monday that economic integration relies on security stability of the SADC, hence need to address concerns. 16 heads of states are expected to meet in Mozambique on Wednesday, where they are expected to agree on a proposal for military intervention on the terrorism in Mozambique, regional and general-regional integration on general development and the fight against COVID-19. Alinafe Mlamba has filed this report.
SADC member states are expected to meet on June 3rd this year in Maputo, Mozambique, to discuss issues of regional integration, development and cooperation. The 16 member states will also utilize the platform to discuss regional responses to the current security concerns in Mozambique. In addition, SADC countries will tackle issues of food and nutrition security as well as COVID-19 global pandemic. Security and good governance expert Sherif Kaisi has employed delegates to the meeting to find lasting solutions to the current security concerns in Mozambique, saying this is a threat to SADC economic integration.
What is happening in Cabo Delgado in Mozambique is just about 300 kilometers away from Mozambique to our borders in Mangochi. So yes, it's a very, very important to tackle that issue.
Good governance expert Victor Chipofia Jr. suggests establishing a separate security entity within SADC would help improving security situation in Mozambique and the entire region.
These terrorists could get into any country within the SADC region. So maybe it's high time that the SADC region could start thinking about having a standing army by itself to be able to help in terms of these insurgents who would come in.
Mozambican president, who is also current SADC chairperson, Felipe Jacinto Nyusi, will chair the summit.
Staying with security, Deputy Inspector General of the Malawi Police Service, Melin Yolamu, says police have recorded 194 cases involving persons with albinism since 2013. Of these, Yolamu says 93 have been completed, while 23 are still in courts and 5 cases await judgment. Deputy Inspector General Yolam further says so far 4 people are in police custody in connection with the killing and abduction of 2 people with albinism this year alone.
sitingathane nawo tokha ife apolisi chifukwa azibale amene amapereka azibale awo nkumafuna ndalama amakhala nawo m'manyumba momwemo.
Addressing journalists at the police headquarters in Lilongwe on Monday morning, Deputy Inspector General Police Merin Yolam said the country has registered a decline in cases of abduction and killings of people with albinism this year. Yolam, however, says the law enforcers have nabbed 4 people in connection with abduction and killing of 2 people with albinism in Mangochi and Chakwera this year. She has, however, stressed on the need for vigilance by community members to curb the vice.
We are still stepping up with our strategies in order to reduce the number or not eradicate. Our intention is to eradicate so that no case of people with albinism should happen in the future.
Presidential Advisor on People with Albinism and Disability, Overstone Kondowe, has since held police for tightening the grip, asking for more to bring to 0 cases of abductions.
They are giving an impression that as a country we are moving in the right direction in terms of curbing the barbaric acts of attacking persons with albinism in the country. And secondly, it also reflects on the performance of the Malawi Police Service and other stakeholders that offers security to our citizens in the country. We used to have high numbers per month in the previous years, but the coming down to 2, it's a clear direction that we are doing what is required in order to bring to an end all the cases related to persons with albinism in the country.
According to 2018 population and housing census, Malawi has about 134,000 people with albinism.
Justice Andrew Nyirenda has challenged newly appointed commissioners for the Malawi Electoral Commission that presiding over elections is a great responsibility which can make or break a country's democracy. The Chief Justice, speaking in Lilongwe Monday, when he presided over the swearing-in of 3 of the 4 new commissioners, said elections are regulated by a detailed legal framework which they must use as a roadmap to achieve free, fair and credible elections in determining people's choice. Piliani Tambala has filed this report.
Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda believes elections convey the will of the people attained through a firm, strong-minded and resilient electoral commission. He expressed hope that going forward, elections in the country will never turn out to be a courtroom spectacle as was experienced in recent past. He said this is attainable if commissioners stick to the oath that they make before God and people in discharging their duties. He advised that the responsibility the new commissioners have accepted demands that they respond to the will of the people, not political parties that they are selected from. He said if the electoral process is messed up, it creates confusion, anxiety among electorates, voter apathy in future elections, and costly to a nation. Speaking on behalf of the new commissioners, Dr. Emmanuel Fabiano promised to serve the nation with dignity deserved for such a position.
To abide by the Constitution, as has been said, and then you also have got the law that guides the Malawi Electoral Commission itself, which we have to observe and follow. And therefore, there is enough guidance that we need to use and follow as we conduct our business.
President Lazarus Chakwera appointed 4 new commissioners, namely Mr. Francis Kasaira, Dr. Fabiano, Ms. Caroline Fune, all from DBP, and Mr. Richard Chapoteka from Malawi Congress Party. All the commissioners except Mr. Kasaira, who is out of the country on official duties, have taken their oath of office. Piran Tambala, ZBS News, Lilongwe.
Some women groups working towards elimination of child marriages in Nkhani want traditional leaders to start enforcing bylaws and make them known to their subjects. The women bemoan continued interference from some small chiefs and parents in the cause of ending child marriages. Chairperson for Kalumo Women Movement, Alice Kachimbalanga, says in a number of cases, women have been threatened by some parents and chiefs that tolerate child marriages despite the existence of bylaws to end child marriages. Gift Dupimba has filed a report.
The women movements say some chiefs and parents, especially in the remotest villages in Nkhani, seem to be ignorant of the bylaws that were formed with an aim of ending child marriages. Chairperson for Kalumo Women Movement, Alice Kachimbala, says there is much interference as some have already been threatened by the chiefs as well as parents. But senior group village head Mankambira of the area of traditional authority Kalumo say this is because the bylaws are yet to be printed and sent to the chiefs.
We are waiting for authorities to print the bylaws and send them to us so that we can start using them.
Meanwhile, Senior Chief Ntondo has warned to deal with all the chiefs under him that are supporting child marriages. The NGO Gender Coordination Network is coordinating and supporting the women movements in the district. Gift Dupimba, ZBS, Chisi.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
Hello and welcome. We bring you an update on the tobacco market after 9 weeks of sales. The upward trends in tobacco supplies on the market combined with better prices have contributed to higher earnings in the current season compared to earnings during the same period in 2020. The seasonal earnings show that the country has realized $111.6 million from 67.9 million kilograms of all tobacco types sold by the end of the 9th week this year, compared to $88.4 million earned from 58.4 million kilograms of tobacco traded during the similar period last year. This represents a 26.2% increase in sales revenue. Tobacco prices also improved by 8.6% at an average price of $1.64 per kilogram sold in week 9 this year, compared to $1.51 per kilogram sold during the same comparative period last year. And that's what we had time for. Thanks for watching.
Ikolole kungonjezera mayunits atnm kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tikolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera mayunits ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira mabonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
Sompenya amalawi watukula Malawi 2063 akale wozimira bae kufika 2063 akale wokomera aliyense achinyamata tigwirane manja tukula Malawi achinyamata tikale patsogolo tukula Malawi Malawi wozimira bae Malawi wokomera aliyense Malawi 2063 kusinda dziko lathu mokomera aliyense.
Welcome back. Here are the top stories again. Experts say failure to restore peace in Mozambique's Cabo Delgado could cripple development efforts in Malawi and SADC. New MEC commissioners sworn in. Blantyre-based citizen petitions ACB to halt process of paying late Bulea Lule's wife proposed quantum of damages amounting to 331 million kwacha. And in sports, 5 Super League clubs fined for misconduct. Moving on to the news. A Blantyre-based citizen has petitioned the Anti-Corruption Bureau (SCB) to investigate an hot process of paying late Bulealule's wife proposed quantum of damages amounting to 331 million kwacha she's demanding from government over the death of her husband in 2019 while in police custody. Muhammad Abu Trika claims it is unrealistic for late Lule's wife to demand such an amount, arguing some people who died in police custody, their families never got compensated. We have a report by Blessings Kangombe.
Muhammad Abu Trika claims the 331 million kwacha compensation by late Bulealule's wife is unjustifiable. Abu Trika says the mathematical calculations on the compensation is questionable, hence requesting SCB to intervene. He further alleges that some people who died in police custody in the past, their families never got compensation from government. Abu Trika cites late Evison Matafali and Alhaj Ndaila Onani, who died while in police custody, but their families have not been compensated to date. Lawyer of late Lule's wife, George Diverson Kazipatige, has refused to comment on the matter, while SCB spokesperson Gritandala said will comment at an appropriate time. Late Lule was one of the main suspects in the abduction and killing of a 14-year-old boy with albinism from Dedza. He died in February 2019 while in police custody.
Vice President Dr. Saulos Chilima on Tuesday is expected to appear in Parliament, where he is expected to take questions from lawmakers. The Vice President will appear in the August House as the Minister of Economic Planning, Development and Public Sector Reforms. Leader of the House, Richard Chimwendo Banda, has meanwhile described Chilima's appearance in Parliament as a fulfillment of the Tonse administration's promise. Chimwendo explains.
All members will have another chance to ask the Vice President questions. Of course, these are already submitted questions to him. Of course, there will be also an opportunity for supplementary questions. But thereafter, it's a normal house. Members of Parliament are always asked to make sure that they use this time for Malawians, not for themselves, so that Malawians really benefit. Members, sometimes when a big person comes, they want to take advantage and shine off out there. Because normally questions are asked according to a standing order. And the standing order which members are using tomorrow is the very same standing order that the ministers use, because the Vice President tomorrow is coming as Minister responsible for economic planning and reforms. So it's the very same standing order that they will use. So they all know. But sometimes when a leader like him comes in, members would like to behave differently. But it's my hope that members of Parliament will use an opportunity to save their country by asking good questions that can help and support this country.
We now turn to business. The Reserve Bank of Malawi, RBM, says about 1,000 employers in Malawi have failed to remit close to 26.9 billion kwacha in pension funds for their employees, with some companies and organizations exceeding the period of 5 years. On Monday, the financial regulator pounced on some companies in Blantyre and Limpi, where RBM Chief Examiner Paul Nyirenda said the defaulters have been issued with a 21-day ultimatum to clear the arrears of first litigation. Alex Banda reports from Blantyre.
The country's financial regulator, Reserve Bank of Malawi, says 999 companies and organizations have been defaulting on remittance of pension funds, with other employers exceeding a period of 5 years. RBM Chief Examiner on Pension Insurance Supervision, Paul Nyirenda, says this non-compliance has resulted to the funds accumulating to 26.9 billion kwacha. On Monday, after visiting some companies such as RK Plastics, Fargo Limited and Omega Security in Blantyre, Nyirenda said the bank has issued a 21-day ultimatum for all the companies to clear these arrears.
As the registrar, we have decided to take more serious measures, and in this case we have involved the fiscal police, because we know if an employer is deducting and not limiting the pension contributions, basically one would take it as stealing. So the fiscal police will look at it from the angle of theft, and also the law gives the registrar powers to undertake administrative penalties. So in this case, we are visiting employers and we are giving them a direction or a warning as an administrative penalty, giving them 21 days to clear their arrears.
On the day, it was of course not without any dramatic scenes, with some company officials barring entry, the RBM officials, the media and fiscal police officers from gaining access to their premises. A general manager at Fago, Ahmed Sankrit, said his company, just like most businesses in the country, was affected with the economic turmoil caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Ahmed, however, said with the economy picking up, his company is moving to clear all the arrears and interest with their pension administrator. The Reserve Bank has since bemoaned this money could otherwise be plowed back into the economy. For Zodiac in Blantyre, this is Alex Banda.
Board chairperson of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets, John Susi Banda, has spoken against big companies monopolizing public procurement, which he said only benefits few rich individuals. Banda wants procurement to be a means of distributing wealth to the marginalized Malawians and not only among few rich people. He said this during a workshop held on Monday between his institution and Blantyre Water Board directors in Cholo, where he implored public institutions to stick to procurement laws. Happy Njalamano has filed this report from Blantyre.
Visibly concerned and unhappy, John Susi Banda told the board of directors of Blantyre Water Board that the majority of Malawians want to see change in public procurement. Banda, the board chairperson of Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets, says there is no point for few individuals to monopolize procurement. He said this during a workshop between his institution and Blantyre Water Board BWB directors at Vumbwe in Cholo on Monday.
We can't expect that a person who has a 5 million kwacha company would do a railway line project, clearly. But at least they must be able to supply paper, reams of paper to an institution. They must be able to supply tomatoes to the army or to the police. It simply doesn't make sense that public procurement should be a reserve of a few. It's simply unacceptable.
BWB board chairperson George Nessa says it is important that they understand the procurement requirements as they need a lot of materials to provide city dwellers with safe water.
For the materials that we buy, we do spend a lot of money, but there have been issues in that sometimes you find that there's misprocurement. Sometimes when you apply to PPDA, you find that they reject what we propose to buy. Sometimes there are delays and all that. So all these do affect our clients. If we cannot supply, have the materials to supply the water, then it affects our customers.
About 70% of national budget goes to public procurement in the country.
Minister of Agriculture, Lobin Lowe, has expressed concern with the continued high rejection rate of tobacco on the auction market at Chinkoma auction floors in Kasungu, which as of Monday was around 40%. He was speaking Monday after paying a surprise visit to the floors to check on the adherence of buyers on the government-set minimum prices. Some growers who spoke with Zodiac complained that continued rejection of the leaf on the auction market is exerting unnecessary pressure on them. Naonkubi reports.
Nduna za ulimi Robin Lowe anakaendera msika wa Chinkoma ukasungu lolemba masana. Malinga ndi ndunayi ulendo anakonza kuti ukhale wa dzidzidzi ndi cholinga chofuna kuona ngati ogula fodya akutsatira mitengo yoyambira yomwe boma lidakhazikitsa.
We apologize for the technical fault. Now to sports news. Five Super League clubs have been fined for misconduct during recent league games that were abandoned. All referees involved in the games have been banned. The clubs are Silver Strikers, Nyasa Big Bullets, Red Lions, Moyale Barracks and Mighty Tigers. But the Central Bankers and Moyale Barracks have been awarded points from the abandoned games. Well, that's about what we had time for in this news edition, but before we go, a look at the headlines. Experts say failure to restore peace in Mozambique's Cabo Delgado could cripple development efforts in Malawi and SADC. New Met commissioners sworn in. Blantyre-based citizen petitions SCB to hold process of paying late Bulea Lule's wife proposed quantum of damages amounting to 331 million kwacha. And in sports, 5 Super League clubs fined for misconduct. Visit our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. My name is Philip Caetano da Costa. Thanks for watching.